Hello everyone and welcome back to Metal Tiger Gaming. It has been a while and I missed you guys. Today I have a review of the Amazing Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales because they were kind of linked into the same game. Plus I beat them within a week of each other, so I figure since they're both made by Insomniac and they're both Marvel games, I figure since the world was also the same, I'll just do them together. But I want to go ahead and do a little plug before we continue. Please make sure you guys are liking these videos and subscribing if they've brought you any entertainment or have been helpful to you. I will be doing more streaming on Twitch and uploading videos based on gaming news and updates on YouTube, like my recent one where Sony decided that they are no longer offering first-party updates for free from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. So make sure if you guys find that informative, go ahead and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Another thing too is I'm not entirely sure how I want to do the channel, as it's something I do just for the love of gaming. I'm really here to make a bunch of money. So just subscribe if you guys enjoy it. I mean, hate me if you don't, but either way, I appreciate it. So, jumping right into the review here. The remake of Amazing Spider-Man was absolutely true to the Marvel franchise. It felt like you were a superhero the entire time. I never felt awkward or clammy. I think the user verticality and overall web slinging shenanigans made you feel like you were actually Spider-Man. The graphics in 60 frames per second were absolutely stunning. I mean, I was finding myself getting goosebumps just watching some of the scenes and the cutscenes and, watching Peter Parker interact with Dr. Octavius or, anybody else in the game. So it felt really good. And I was stopping cutscenes just to marvel at the, pun intended, at the graphics they actually put into it. I mean, they did work in sweat, portion of skin, fabric of suits. I mean, everything. The metal had a really good sheen to it. It was awesome. I feel like the controller layout, as far as like when you were playing it versus what you had reaction time on the screen, made sense, and it was very acclimated. The longer you played, the more sense it made to you. The only issue that I had with the controller layout, although it's intuitive and very smooth, was changing your web shooter abilities. It made you pause, but the game wasn't really pausing. You were just falling while you were like, oh, let's choose something in the wheel. That just kind of felt weird. I feel like there would have been something you could have, L1 and triangle or something to figure something out, but that's fine. It could also get you killed if you didn't time it right, which happened to me a couple of times because I was just trying to swap over to electric web, for example, and all of a sudden I'm falling down and I die. So, I enjoyed the versatility of the enemies that you fought as well, whether that was under the legs approach or dragging enemies into the air to beat them up and to get a combo. The fight scenes really made it immersive. The enemies themselves seem to always work on the competitive edge, and that means that the enemies often stay true to their coding and did the one thing they were supposed to do, which the most annoying thing in the game is probably the rocket launcher guys, because that's all they did. They just shot rocket launchers at you, and you can never really move out of the way fast enough because they're explosive, so it makes it a little difficult to do that. There were also plenty of times I tried to ignore the enemies, do whatever I wanted during combat, and almost died because of that, because you're just trying to run away from them, and sometimes you can't. So that makes it a little bit better, I think, just because you're like, oh no, I have to fight and I have to do this, and sometimes you also get into a lot of trouble with not being able to complete the mission. So the Spider sensibility helped greatly in creating a bond and understanding with Spider-Man. The comedic jokes and timing assisted with remaining engaged because you were always unsure as how the game were to go. The Spider sensibility also made you just feel insanely cool, like you were Spider-Man. It's one of those immersive techniques that they used. The romance involved with the other characters, while also introducing the others, were a relief in their own right. It was great to see Miles Morales and Doc Ock. This especially felt great after the new Spider-Man trailer, which everyone's starting to think is because of Miss Scarlett Johansson, but who knows. I am really unsure as how long I spent playing the game. It was a while. I mean, there's a lot of side quests, a lot of DLC, because this was the remake, so you got the free DLC. I have to say probably close to 80 to 120 hours is about where I'm at, because I played the game with several transitions in real life, and I only played the game for an hour or two, and it took me 4 months or so, I mean, you kind of do the math on that. I would estimate the game would be easy to platinum, because my first run through I almost platinumed it. Two of the trophies I think you actually can get, you have to platinum by doing New Game Plus, which is in the game. So I already know that's going to just give it a point on itself. It's just because of the fact that New Game Pluses are what I think make games replayability have a high replayability. Now, that being said, there are some people who are really strange and they're like, yeah, no, I love Dark Souls and Demon Souls and I love those games because they're hard and I want to replay through it to be better. And you know what? Fantastic for you. I'm happy for you. But I think that, for us plebeians who want to, enjoy a little bit of gaming and less of a challenge, I think, it's a little bit easier to kind of go through the game again with your New Game Plus. I'm going to have to give this game, I'm going to do Amazing Spider-Man 9 out of 10. While I agree with most of the reviews of giving it 10 out of 10, I just think that there should have been a faster way to change the web shooting. In game, it shows Spider-Man utilizing his suit like a computer several times at voice command. So with the new mic in the controller for the PlayStation 5, that could have been something they could have done, although that would have been pretty funny, I guess. But the only thing I can really see being a change in the future updates. When I wrote this originally, I was going to stream Miles Morales, but that game did not last very long. After watching Into the Spider-Verse a while ago, I was excited to see Miles Morales and how his tie in the main game of Amazing Spider-Man, turning him into Spider-Man, into his own spin-off, was great. The only thing I didn't like about Miles Morales was the fact that it was maybe 25 to 30 hours of gameplay. It didn't take as long as Spider-Man, and that's the one thing I hated. It was the same thing with Uncharted. You had your first 3 main games, and then it was the very last one wasn't long enough to be its own game, but it was too long to be a DLC. So it was one of those annoying things where we had to engage with a character for a short amount of time that we really connected with, because his style and his approach to being Spider-Man is vastly different, and they captured that very well. I thought that was something that was awesome. I mean, you have Peter, who's very, very confident, who knows who he is, being Spider-Man. He has very strong abilities. And then you look at Miles Morales. He's kind of unsure. He lands funny, He doesn't quite always have his footing. He doesn't always have the confidence of being Spider-Man. But that progresses. The longer you go through the story, the longer he's Spider-Man, you start to see the longer that he himself is confident. And the game definitely reflects that with giving you more powerful abilities as the game continues. That game is also relatively easy to platinum. I mean, I don't see why people would make games difficult to platinum, but that one is also super easy. New Game Plus unlocks a lot of stuff. It was pretty easy to get everything updated through 75% of the game, so I like that a lot. And I probably had to give Miles Morales probably a solid 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 as well. I mean, the freaking track for that game was so good. Plus, I just also like the just number of different extensions that you had in the game, like with being able to do ASL or, just kind of focus on community a little bit better. I definitely think that was nice. And definitely a bigger portion of Miles Morales' story. So I don't really have a whole lot of complaints with Miles Morales outside of the fact it was way too damn short. And with them just releasing the showcase for Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm hoping we get to play a little bit longer with Miles Morales. I want to kind of see how Venom gets involved in this. I mean, I know that it's technically a Sony game, which obviously we know that, and it's owned by Sony, but I want to see how this is going to work in conjunction with Carnage coming out in 4 days, I think. No, I lied. That's 2 weeks. I think 24th. I'm sorry. The 24th. So we're going to see how that goes as far as what the game's going to bring us. So that being said, I think the next game I'll be streaming on Twitch will be Immortals Fenyx Rising. So make sure you guys are subscribing and following me there. I'll be doing reviews here. I am hoping that going forward we're going to have a little bit more streaming quality. I've been kind of changing my internet, kind of changing some settings, so hopefully things are a little bit better. And like I said before, guys, this is Metal Tiger Gaming. I'm not here to make a whole bunch of money off anybody. I'm just kind of here to kind of connect with other gamers and kind of have fun. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in our next